Some of the history's earliest characterization, leaders concerned with the use of their power. Shakespeare plays were concerned with the acquisition and feeling of power. Want to know about the discussion about this? So sit back, relax, and enjoy watching this film. Don't miss out because later on, we will have a question for you. Alright, let's get started.
Here are some of the important distinctions. First is power. What is power? Basically, power refers to the ability to influence others. When you have the power, you might have these good qualities that can potentially influence someone. This is being practiced by leaders, followers, and also it depends on the situation that is happening. Powers comes from the positive traits and characters of the person. It is based on the social and personal skills which makes a person naturally appealing to others and that's how they can influence. Speaking of influence, influence refers to the result of influence tactics that change the individual attitudes, values, beliefs, or behaviors. In other words, it's the effect to the development of a person in a particular direction. Third is influence tactics. It involves action strategies that aim at alternating the other person's attitude, beliefs, and values. Aside from leaders having the power and influence, followers also have the power and influence over leaders, meaning anyone can have a power and influence over someone. And through the behavior and attitude, it will be known what the effect of influence tactics has been on a person. High-power leaders can significantly alter the attitudes and behavior of their subordinates. Through the dedication and passion, they can effectively inspire others to act and encourage self-improvement which promote positive work culture. This shows that they are being an effective leaders. In some certain situations, a follower can be more influential to other people than the leader. Followers also shows power in their performance at work. They can use their personal power that draws on their knowledge, skills, and expertise, position, power, and network to influence. They tend to achieve goals as they are willing and ready to take responsibility. Anyone with a large amount of power may successfully use a wider range of strategies to influence. Followers often use influence tactics more widely than the leader because not all the leaders have the most power in a leadership situations.
The sources of leader power. First is a furniture arrangement. Second is the shape of the table used for meetings and seating arrangements. And third is a prominently displayed symbols. And fourth is the appearance of the title and authority. And fifth is the choice of clothing. And the last one is the presence of absence of crisis. For the Venn diagram, the source of leader power in the leader-followers situation framework. For the leader, there are expert, referent, cohesive, and reward. And for the situation, there are legitimate, and for the followers, there are referent and rewards.
Expert power derives from individual knowledge, expertise, or specialized skills in a particular field or subject matter. When someone possesses expert power, others perceive them as highly knowledgeable and credible in their areas of expertise, which leads to the greater willingness to the trust and judgment, follow their advice, or defer to their decisions. Referent power pertains to the person's ability to influence others based on their charisma, likability, and the stars of others to identify with and be like them. It refers to the personal qualities, attractiveness, and trustworthiness of the individual. Referent power is often seen in role models, celebrities, or leaders who have strong personal following because of their magnetic personalities and admired characteristics. Legitimate power, also known as a personal power, refers to a type of authority or influence that it derives from a person's official or formal position within the organization, institution, or society. This authority recognized and accepted by the hierarchies. In other words, individuals in position of legitimate power have the right to make decisions, give orders, and enforce rules because the role of the title grants them the authority. Reward power is a form of influence or authority that stems from the individual's ability to provide rewards, incentives, or positive outcomes to others in exchange for their compliance, cooperations, or desired behaviors. Those who possess rewards power may have access to various types of rewards, such as financial incentives, promotions, praise, recognitions, or other benefits that individuals find appealing. Reward power can be an effective means of influencing behaviors when used judiciously or as it provides positive reinforcements and encourages individuals to meet a certain expectations or goals. Now we are in the last part of the 5 types of power. The coercive power. Coercive power is a form of influence or authority that relies on the use of threats, punishments, or negative consequences to make others comply with one's wishes or directives. It involves the ability to inflict harm, either physical or emotional, or thoughts of other means, in order to force individuals to take specific actions, behave in particular way. So, these types of power is often characterized by fear and the anticipations of negative repercussions. If one does not comply, coercive power can be wielded by individuals or institutions in positions of authority.
Now we're in the thoughts about French and Raven's power of taxonomy, or basically the situation. The leaders can usually exert more power during crisis than during periods of relative calm. During a crisis, followers may be more eager to receive directions and control from leaders. Research indicates that leaders who rely on referent and expert powers have the subordinates who are more motivated and satisfied, are absent less, and perform better. In the other part, following generalizations can be made about power and influence. Effective leaders take advantage of all the resources of power, and leaders in well-functioning organizations are open to being influenced by their subordinates. Leaders vary in the extent to which they share power with subordinates. And lastly, effective leaders generally work to increase their various power base or become more willing to use their cohesive power.
The first is personalized power. This is exercised for personal needs by selfish, impulsive, uninhibited individuals who lack self-control. The second is socialized power. This is used for the benefit of others or the organization and involves self-sacrifice. We can be able to identify these through the thematic apperception test, a projective personality test that can assess the need for power. because the need for power is found to be positively related to various leadership effectiveness criteria. Individuals vary in their motivation to manage. Miner describes motivation to manage in terms of the following composites: maintaining good relationship with authority figures, wanting to compete for recognition and advancement, being active and assertive, wanting to exercise influence over subordinates, and lastly, being visibly different from followers. Minor Sentence Completion Scale, or the MSCS, measures a person's motivation to manage. The overall composites MSCS score consistently predicts leadership success in hierarchical or bureaucratic organizations. Findings concerning need for power and motivation to manage have several implications for leadership practitioners. First is not all individuals like being leaders. Second is the high need for power or motivation to manage does not guarantee leadership success. The next is the types of influence tactics used by an agent on a target based on the influence behavior. The first is rational persuasion. This is when logical arguments or factual evidence is used to influence others. The second is inspirational appeals. This is when a request or proposal is designed to arouse enthusiasm or emotions in targets. The third is consultation. This is when targets are asked to participate in planning an activity. And lastly, ingratiation. This is when an agent attempts to get a target in a good mood before making a request. Types of influence tactics used by an agent on a target based on the influence behavior questionnaire. The first is personal appeals. This is when a target is used to do a favor out of friendship. The second is exchange. This is when a target is influenced through the exchange of favors. Third is coalition tactics. This is when agents seek the help of others to influence the target. The fourth is pressure tactics. This is when threats or persistent reminders are used to influence targets. And lastly, legitimizing tactics. This is when agents make requests based on their position or authority.
Influence tactics and power. Influence tactics and power. A strong relationship exists between the relative power of agents and targets and the types of influence tactics used. Leaders with a high referent power generally do not use legitimizing or pressure tactics. Leaders with only coercive or legitimate power tend to use coalition, legitimizing, or pressure tactics. Here are some of the tactics that are used. Hard tactics. Hard tactics are used when an influencer has the upper hand, resistance is anticipated, the other person's behavior violates important norms. Soft tactics. Soft tactics are used when one is at disadvantage, resistance is expected. There is personal benefit if the attempt is successful. Rational tactics. Rational tactics are used when parties are relatively equal in power. Resistance is not anticipated. Benefits are organizational as well as personal. Using influence tactics is a social skill. Other ways to successfully influence superiors. Number 1, thoroughly preparing beforehand. Number 2, involving others for support or coalition tactics. And lastly, persisting through a combination of approaches. People select influence tactics as the function of their power, relationship with another person. Relationship holds true universally across different social domains. A concluding thought about influence tactics. Leaders should pay attention to the actual influence tactics they use and why they believe particular methods are effective. Influence effort intend to build others up more frequently lead to a positive outcomes than influence efforts tend to put others down.
And now, let's move on to the summary. By reflecting on their different bases of power, leaders may understand how they can affect followers and even expand their power. Leaders can improve their effectiveness by finding ways to enhance their value of their personal contribution for their team. The exercise of power occurs primarily through influence tactic leaders and followers to use modify each other attitudes and behavior.